Let me offer a quick simplification of your group work, and my apologies for not having time to look a little bit further into this. I like the idea of the top 10 solutions from Drawdown because if you have too many choices, it's difficult to figure out what to do. So check these out. They're all really cool and kind of new to me now that I've had a little bit of time to look at them. I didn't know refrigerant management would be number one for and I imagine it has to do not only with refrigerators, but probably air conditioning and everything else. So this is kind of cool. That's number one. I didn't know that. I always thought it was about gas and coal. And then the second one, wind turbines, I think the potential is maybe even greater than solar. So this is kind of cool. Onshore wind turbines. And then the third one, reduced food waste. I didn't think something like that would be one of the biggest contributors to greenhouse gases. But that's well worth looking into, and of course, it's something we can all do. And then plant-rich diet. I didn't know that vegetarians would have that much less of an impact, or any really, on climate change. So this is kind of cool. Tropical rainforest restoration. We've heard lots about that. There'll be a lot of data on that. Just basically replanting all the trees we've chopped down because they store carbon. I think we've deforested an area the size of South America. Amazing. And then moving on, educating girls. This was at first a new one. It's actually under the umbrella of education in Drawdown. But if girls are educated equally, then they don't get married at 16 or 17. Maybe they get married at 22 or 26 after they've planned a career. And the spin-off of that is that the families get smaller. That's probably one of the singularly best things we could do to reduce population. And then obviously in doing that, we reduce our dependency on energy, polluting energy sources such as fossil fuels. So that's a cool one, and I think it's something everybody can get behind. Definitely that. And then family planning is kind of a cousin of that. Is basically fewer people means less energy demand. And then finally we get into solar farms. This would be big. There's a lot of this in Australia and India. And these are the large scale farms that will actually, supply power to thousands of people, not just your rooftop solar, which is something I think a lot of us would like to do at home. And silvopasture, I didn't have time to look at that, but what's wrong with having the cattle graze underneath trees? The practice has been to take all the trees out and have the cattle use open pasture. But that's not necessary. It may have been easier earlier on, or it may even make it slightly easier to round up the cattle if they're in a big open field. But if you return them into a natural environment, then you could have the beef that people like so much, and at the same time, preserve the trees, which are so important for carbon capture. So that's a cool one. And then finally, number 10, rooftop solar. I love the picture of the African hut there because the biggest concern for emerging economies, that is, countries that don't have access to a lot of energy and want access to a lot of energy, is that they would seek coal and diesel and other filthy solutions because they cost less. And the cool thing about the year 2020 is for remote villages in Africa or India or South America, it costs less money to get solar energy. And what that means is they don't need to be dependent upon oil companies or coal companies. They can just, let's say, put a 2-acre solar farm out behind the village and they have all the energy they need, with some batteries for storage. And this is really cool. This is what's happening throughout the developing world. So these are the 10 sites I would like you to narrow your group work on, not as an absolute requirement, but it simplifies. Now, of course, there are many, many more solutions. If we look at the drawdown the drawdown project list, but I think sometimes it's easier to work from a list of 10 than it is to work from a list of 50, especially with a short amount of time. You have to decide what to do and put together a project between today, Saturday, and next week, Friday. So maybe this will help you get going.